Hey everybody, Marissa here with discoverintuition.com and whatever our name is. Ask Jesus the Answer 7 Weeks. And here's my dad. As
Hey,
he's
folks, Joe
chatting.
Morris.
I'm gonna set up the TikTok thing here.
For those of you who are probably coming on for a first time, you're going, "Who are those people? I mean, why should I be watching and wasting my time watching these people?" It's rather interesting, so don't go away, because Marissa's a clear channel clairvoyant, and I am a reborn Christian. And what happened to Marissa being able to channel starting basically 12 years ago. And so it got me all mixed up in it, and so we've taken it. We've taken it and run with it. We have pastors that condemn us for doing what we're doing, but I always feel like Marissa's talking to Jesus, and he never gives us bad advice. Maybe he gives us too good of advice at times. But for those of you who watched mostly the life of Jesus, I did the life of Jesus every life. I mean, every year of his life from the Urantia book last year. So if you want to and just kind of explore around and you're really into Jesus and you'd like to know more about Jesus, of the years that we don't know anything about, just tap on videos or posts and go back to sometime last year, I think from March until January.
Oh, you did it for like 2 years, didn't you?
Yeah, I did it too. I did it 1.5. I did the whole life of him and finished that up, I think, in March of last year. And then I started back up again. But we only got halfway through it when we got to the end of the year. And now, rather than continue with the story of Jesus, which we already have, um, we're now into this new phase. And it's, ask Jesus or ask the guides or ask whoever. And right now we've got it down as Ask Jesus. And for those that offends people who don't want to be religious, and whenever they hear the name Jesus, just don't think of Jesus, think of Christ. Just think of Christ, and maybe that'll make it a little bit easier for you. So anyway, what we're going to do today, we don't talk a lot about the secular world. Boy, I could spend the whole hour talking about the secular world, but it wouldn't do any good
And then I'd be
because
like,
yeah, Marissa'd be out, and
I try to stay out of it.
I'd be fuming at what's going on in the world right now. But there's not much. All we can do is get the Lord's message out there as best we can. And if it means doing it by channeling, we'll do it by channeling. Usually what we do is I will go ahead and read something either from our own books or from the Bible or from the Urantia book. And then Marissa listens intently. And after a prayer, she has personalities that come in. She can't choose who comes in; they just come in. And
I can
most of the
call it.
time,
I can try to choose, but it doesn't always work.
yeah.
They're on their own. They have their own free will.
But Jesus is. I've been told Jesus is my guide. Well, he's probably everybody's guide, but he is my guide, and so he comes in a
People have
lot.
Buddha. Some people have like Buddha. Some people have um some people have just Christ. Some people have Mary. Some people have
Yeah,
uh Saint Germain.
Catholics
Saint Germain's been
is
back lately.
Saint Germain probably because Marissa's good friend and literary agent Bill Gladstone passed away recently, and he considered himself the reincarnation of Saint Germain,
Oh,
and
did
that might
he?
be, yeah, yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Oh yeah, it's in all your books. It's
Well,
in your skeptics books. Saint
oh,
Germain was always coming in, and Bill
but
said,
he
"Well,
had
that
that
must be me.
mustache that
That
he,
must
like,
be me way back whenever. That must be
oh,
one of my higher selves." But poor Bill, he never accepted Jesus. He was Jewish, and he just couldn't. They just, I don't know what it is. Jews just cannot accept the fact of Jesus. Well,
well, that's the whole point of being
Muslims
Jewish.
don't. Muslims don't either.
Yeah.
They don't want to believe in Jesus. We Christians do, and then we get persecuted by everybody around the world. They all go think that we're just a bunch of weaklings. Do you know that in India, India and Pakistan, for those of you here in the United States, you know that when you want to hire somebody to clean your house, it's usually a Mexican, right? Or somebody from south of the border, because those are the lowliest jobs, and they're the ones that take them. In India and Pakistan, the Christians are the Mexicans in the United States.
Really?
They do all the menial jobs. They have to clean the toilets, work in the kitchens, cleaning houses, doing whatever. The Christians are just
When you say
completely.
Christians, you mean like the religious people, not necessarily like white people or like,
No,
whatever race,
these are
just like their religion.
India. No, these are India and Pakistani Christians. I
Okay.
mean, there's so many sects of Christianity around the world, but they believe in the Bible and they believe in their faith, and they're persecuted constantly by the Muslims, and yet they still hang in there. You got to tip your hat to them. They're constantly being persecuted, and yet they hang in there with their faith, and which is kind of
I
strange.
don't
And
know
maybe
why you do
I'd
that.
like to ask Jesus this. I remember in some of our first um, sessions that we did, 10, 12 years ago, I remember asking Jesus, if somebody is threatening to kill me if I profess my faith in you, should I go ahead and be killed in my faith of you?
He said no,
He said,
right?
"No, don't be stupid. You can't pass along. You can't pass me along to many, 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 many others by being stubborn and saying, 'Yeah, I believe in Jesus.' Whack! There goes your head. So much
Yeah.
for being on earth anymore." He said, "No, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Now you just have to work underground. Say, 'Yes, I love Mohammed. Yes, I love Allah.' No, go,
So
okay,
just the reason why,
you get to live, you're not Jew, you're not Christian, and then you can quietly go about your way and hopefully escape and get somewhere. But yeah, I remember Jesus telling us, no, don't do that. Don't
like, don't
do
get yourself
that.
killed over this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't get
they,
killed over me. You're here on
yeah.
the earth to do a certain thing. You weren't meant to come on this earth just to die saying, I believe in Jesus Christ and therefore I'm willing to have my head chopped off by some 15-year-old whacked out kid. I mean, no, that ain't going to happen. I'll turn you down, Jesus, but only in public, not
Yeah, I'll
private.
be Peter. And Peter was the one that turned him down or whatever.
So anyway, for today, we're never quite sure, excuse me, never quite sure what we're going to do. I have to
Yesterday was
flip
so
it.
interesting when we got cut off. It was so interesting because we had all the we had
My
all the girl guides in here.
Yeah, my electricity went off yesterday, and I tried and tried and tried to get back in. I couldn't get back in. So my apology. I thought it was just the Wi-Fi, but it wasn't our electricity. They're building a new subdivision down the street from us, and
Mhm.
so the electric company CFE on both sides, way up towards Atacama and then back towards Santa Cruz, they shut all the electric off while they're installing new lines. So anyway, that was 2 days ago. And then yesterday, they had to shut it off again right while I was in the middle of the show. They turned it back on, but I couldn't get back in. So I apologize. And I don't even remember what we were talking about, to tell you the truth,
We were
because I was
talking about the girl
frustrated.
guides. It was so interesting. It was the girl guides because people were harping on me for like not being a feminist, for having all guides.
Yeah,
And they're like,
men
come on,
guides.
Marissa, represent women. Like, why would you like have all your guides be men? Like kind of talking crap to me. And it was just like, it's like I can choose my guides, like you said, like the people that want to come in, come in. And if they don't want to come in, they they don't come in. What's funny is my first teacher would say, if we do a class, we need to show up for the class and teach the class, even if nobody shows up at the class. We need to show up because spirit will show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true. Like when they decide to come, they come. But Sometimes when we wanted to start, say, our channeling at like 7 o'clock at night, so we could go to bed at a decent time, they came in every single night at 10:24. Remember?
Yeah,
No
yeah.
matter what, we would be
And
like,
then
okay,
we
we're gonna
do an hour and 24 minutes. It would always be an hour and 20 minutes, something like that.
exactly hour and 24
Yeah.
minutes. They'd start at 10:24. That's funny, 10:24, and it'd be an hour and 24 minutes. But it was like every single time. So I know they have their agenda of what times they come in and stuff like that. But yesterday we called in the female guides because I had 5 or 6 different women that don't know each other, basically telling me that I was what's that thing, that I was like rooting for a patriarchal society rather than
Yeah.
a
A
matriarchal
matriarch.
society.
Yeah.
People will find any reason to judge a person,
No,
and
I
people
think
like,
we switched. I think you've already said that we've switched.
we have,
We
yeah,
switched in, I think, to a fifth dimension, and when that took place very quietly, nobody notices. It just happens. Then we're moving out of the patriarchal, moving into the matriarchal. So we're actually into the maybe with the new Chinese New Year, we're into a matriarchal society. We'll have to see. Um, people basically say we're matriarchal or patriarchal based on who our leaders are, whether they're men or they're women. But anyway,
that's not even
it,
true though. It's just a feeling is what they're saying. Like, so I'm going to call the girl guides in again today just to see, because what what I
well,
find is from the
that'll include my Eden, and that'll
Mhm.
include my Dolores.
Yep.
Dolores is my health angel, and Eden is just always there. Eden helps me get through the day. I wonder how many times she's made me lose my keys so that I didn't get in a crash. So anyway, I like Eden. So
Probably a lot.
I've
You have
got
all girl guides and I have guy guides. I wonder if there's like a connection there or something like that, because I don't have any female guides. All mine are, it's like Abraham, Jeremy,
could be
Yeshua.
maybe because we're all male female down here, we can only relate that way. So yeah, I'd rather have female guides than male guides, but then again, Jesus is a guide for me, and
Well,
he's a
I
guide.
literally just had myself just like went like this in my face and went, because you wouldn't listen to me. If
What
it was
was?
me, if it was myself,
Oh,
I myself, like my higher self came in and said, okay, you're loved and you need to do this and you need to do that. I'd be like, all but like some guy in robes comes in and I'm like, oh, okay, I have to listen to him.
oh
You know,
yeah, okay, yeah, like
you know,
Rosemary. You
even when
never
I,
think
even, yeah, I don't even take Rosemary seriously. um, Jeff,
Rosemary, by the way, is someone that popped into the story when we were interviewing Matthew in the New Testament,
she's
and
awesome.
this lady popped in, and we didn't know. Well, get out of here! You don't belong in here. God, please take away all negative. Blah 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 blah. And she was still there. So we asked Jesus, "Is she for our highest and best? What is she doing here?" And Jesus said, "Yeah, she's okay. She'll bring a good objective." Uh,
She
maybe
brings like,
more
she brings,
subjective on her part. It's probably more subjective than objective, but it's okay. And if you want to learn more about Rosemary, get our book and read about especially read in the Matthew chapter. But she's sprinkled throughout almost everything over the last 8 years, 9 years or so. She was just a groupie. She was a groupie of Jesus. She may not like the way I've described her, but she
like I
was.
was in, she says, I was your daughter, she says.
You, Rosemary was my daughter. What
You're
was I?
probably the one that told her. Let me see.
Blacksmith or something?
No, you didn't sell her. I'm like, was he the one that sold you? And she goes, I wouldn't be following him around. Because remember she
No,
said her
no.
father sold her into like sex slavery when she was like 10 or something.
Yeah. I
Her
can't imagine
father.
that.
And then
Maybe in a previous life, even before that, or whatever. But
she's
anyway,
part of our soul pod, basically. Like
so
everyone
go
has
ahead. Yeah, go ahead and probably better say a prayer. Make sure you don't
and
get any negative entities in here.
just
And
making sure the TikTok thing isn't staring down my shirt. So I'm not flashing everyone. I just looked up and I was like, I better lower this a little bit. Here.
okay.
So we're for the first time I have TikTok going at the same time, because TikTok I can go live now, and I'm going to block all the TikTok energy coming in because I'm not used to TikTok energy. So I'm going to include that in the prayer, and it's no offense against TikTok. It's just that I don't know that what's interesting is the energy of Facebook is much more contained than, say, like Instagram. Instagram, the energy of people that are watching Instagram, I can actually feel their energy coming in. Like I can feel, oh, somebody just logged in. TikTok, it's almost like they're in the room with me. Facebook, when we go live on Facebook, it's like we're in this little bubble. And maybe it's just because we're used to going live on Facebook and that's just what we're used to. And maybe that's, I don't know. So anyways, I'm going to say a prayer and ask that the energies from everybody will, okay. Heavenly Father, God, Christ, Holy Spirit, source of all creation, we ask that all the energies that are coming forth today be our guides, that are for our highest and best good, that they all be infused with only unconditional love for us and for anybody that is gracing us with their presence and watching us today, even if it's for 2 seconds they're watching us. We ask that you, God, surround them, wrap them up in light, wrap them in love maybe that they've never actually truly felt before, pure love in their hearts. We ask that everybody be risen up above duality, and that they be given the ability to release all cords and attachments, entities, earthbound spirits, disincarnated souls, anything, even if we don't know the name for it. You know it's good, you know it's not, and we know you say that good and bad don't exist, but you know what we mean, God. If there's angels that are required to come in and surround us, then we ask you to be the judge and send in angels. If we don't need angels, we don't need angels. We ask that our higher selves and our souls and the greatest aspect of each, me and Papa, Joe and Marissa, step forward and step into our energy now, pushing our ego and our logic aside so the greater part that is us, that is the real us, speak today and hopefully bring forth some wisdom, some peace, and some truth to people that are looking for it. And I'm not going to call any specific guides in. I'm just going to ask that our higher selves, our highest selves, be the ones that call in the guides. I'm not even going to say like eat and deliver anything. I'm just going to let you guys set the energy, block off any energies coming in from the different platforms, if they're not for our highest and best good, and allow only unconditional love and light and peace to flow through into people's living rooms or houses or phones or whatever. Okay. In the Lord's name we pray. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Okay. Wow, this is weird. It's so cool. I've never seen it like this before. You know, I usually see bleachers over, I usually say I see kind of like bleachers over here. And that's where I kind of see like the angels. The angels sit, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 angels. So there's like 3 and like 4 rows. I've never seen all 4 rows of them before. And then I see a very tall being like right in front of me. And it kind of looks like a shepherd's kind of like hook thing. It's like right in front of me, and it's like an arch. But if I look beneath it, I can see that it's a sea. But like the sea, it's like water is right here, and the bottom of the sea is under there. The top of the sea is up here. It's gold, and they're saying that is the collective. That's the collective. And when it's gold, it means it's infused with Christ. So it's everybody's thoughts about what we're saying. Like if they have questions, they're going to go into that collective. And then that'll come forward to us as like a question that they have. And that'll be something that we may just be like, oh, I have an idea. Let's ask about this. It won't be like, oh, we're hearing them say it. It'll just come into our heads. Behind that, I see a huge, like being, like I see its heart, and it's got a little bit of hair on its chest. So it's a man. I see a little bit of a beard, and he's like this, and it's Ishmael, Ezekiel. It's not Emmanuel. It's Ishmael. Ishmael. I don't know. And then behind Ishmael, I see Sarah. Sarah. It's a Sara, I believe, and she's kind of standing very straight up like this. And then behind her, I see Michael. But this is Michael. It's Christ Michael. And then behind Michael, I see 2 huge hands and then feet. So like the hands and the feet are kind of like it's almost like they're pushed, like all 4 of them together, and they're pointing down at that. And if I look up, I can see somebody sitting above like a reflection pool, and they've got their hands and their feet in the water, and they're sending down like energy. And it honestly looks like you, but they're saying it looks like you because it's the Father, and you're my Father. So it's like the Father is sending like basically this story down into this sea that we're in, and they're bringing up that whole. In the beginning, there was the firmament, and there was water above the firmament and below what's that verse again? There's water above and below the whatever, the
The
filament, the firmament.
firmament of the earth.
Yeah, so I see water there.
Basically the atmosphere. The atmosphere. We're very special. Our Earth is very special because we have an atmosphere. Other planets and moons don't have, and that's the basis of our life.
And
Okay,
this being can go like this. It can take its hands and put them up into the clouds, which is the other water. So one of the waters is clouds and the other water is like a sea. So this being, this father, can take energy and information from the cloud, kind of like the cloud, and bring it down and pull it into and shoot it down into this like water where these feet and hands are kind of shooting these stories down into this water. And then I see all the guides, and then we're all like, holding our breath. We're underwater, but underwater in this water that we're in, I see the moon, the star, the skies. I see the earth. I see everything. Everything exists inside of this water. And I just asked, am I supposed to be under the water? And they said, no, you're going to come sit up here. So I'm sitting on the shoulder of the guy that keeps going like this and pulling information and bringing it up, putting it down, bringing it up, putting it down. And as he's doing that, people are rising up out of the water and going up into that cloud. I think it's like people that have died. And I think that heaven is, I think I'm like where heaven is right now, or the in-between world between heaven and earth.
Why don't I just read something and then as a kick in, and then things will flow from there. What I did I turned to only the 5th paper. There's 190 something papers in the Arancha book. Anyway, I went to number 5, and it's entitled God's Relation to the Individual. And this is from the channel book, the Arancha book. And before you say, oh, that's channeled poo-poo, I hate to tell you.
Listening to us, otherwise they wouldn't be listening to us.
I know, but in a way, I even poo-poo it myself because I've come to learn that the Quran is a channeled book with Gabriel, and I don't believe Gabriel would have said half the things that are in the Arancha book. And we've since learned that we really can't go there because Jesus doesn't want us. What's the word I'm looking for? Disparage. Does not want us to disparage the holy books. But the Arancha book's a channel book, and so I'm going to read some channeling here. And this is from, let's see if I can get who. This will be either a midwayer or some universal counselor. So let me go down to the bottom.
Midwayers are from Sirius A.
From Sirius A. Oh, this is what I'm going to read is this is the 5th and last of the series presenting the narrative of the Universal Father by a divine counselor of Uversa. That's all the way.
Okay, so that's who that guy is that I'm looking at. The guy that's going like this, he's a divine counselor.
Okay, yeah, he just doesn't have, they don't give us his name. So anyway, let me read that, God's relationship to the individual, and then you guys can just cut in anytime you want to. So anyway, paper 5. Again, it's entitled God's Relation to the Individual. If the finite mind of man is unable to comprehend how so great and so majestic a God as the Universal Father can descend from his eternal abode in infinite perfection to fraternize with the individual human creature, then must such a finite intellect rest
fraternize, like have an actual like sexual relationship. I know that when I was in rehab, they said you weren't allowed to fraternize with other clients.
This would not be this would be far from a sexual thing because God isn't even sexual.
I know that. Well, fraternize I think of as being like a relationship.
To fraternize. Think of a frat house. Having fun with people.
Okay.
So in infinite perfection to fraternize with the individual human creature, then must such a finite intellect rest assurance of divine fellowship upon the truth of the fact that an actual fragment of the living God resides within the intellect of you, every normal-minded and morally conscious earth mortal. So everybody's got a piece of God. But he also clarified it, say God resides within the intellect of every normal-minded and morally
Normal.
conscious. So if you're not normal-minded and you're not morally conscious, chances are you're walking around without a piece of God
Or
in
you're weird. God left. God
Yeah.
left and you became weird, or are you weird and then God doesn't come to you? Normally minded. That's a very interesting way for them to put that.
No, maybe they'll answer it. The indwelling thought adjuster, that's what the Rancho book calls as the fragment of God that lives within you.
Pineal gland.
They call it the thought adjuster. The indwelling thought adjusters are a part of the eternal deity of the Paradise Father. Man doesn't have to go farther than his own inner experience of the soul's contemplation of the spiritual reality presence to find God and attempt communion with him. So within
Better
your
read that.
body, you've got a soul. You've also got the spirit of God up in there, and the soul is trying to connect with your spirit. And I think that's when you're going to find peace in your life. Is somehow you got to get your intellect and your soul and your spirit to all come together as one. And God has distributed the infinity of his eternal nature throughout the existential realities of his 6 absolute coordinates. But he may at any time, I don't know who these 6, I thought they'd be master spirits, because there's a master spirit, which is each one's a part of the Ancients of Days, and each one of the master spirits heads up each of these 7 super universes. Yes, there's 7 super universes beyond our one and only lonely universe here.
Here's the coordinates. I don't know how to draw or anything, but the 6 coordinates, it looks like this. It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's, I don't know how to draw 3D, so it's like one's popped out and one's back here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they said man is down here, God is like up here, upside down. So there's these coordinates in between where God's consciousness goes into these different things, and then we're down here, and it's about us tuning into the center of this thing to receive all the different information from all the different dimensions of ourself, and it'll come through in different ways. Kind of looks like that Kabbalah tree of life thing, but only like maybe like the top of it.
What was that? Kabbalah? I don't remember much about that.
I don't either, but I know Sue knows.
Kabbalah, and there was something else, Rosicrucians, and those things I didn't understand. Anyway, and the eternal God has also reserved to himself the prerogative of bestowing personality upon the divine creators and the living creatures. That's us. We're living creatures of the universe of universes. Every single one of us has a separate and distinct personality. Just as Jesus, it was Jesus's personality that was recognized after his resurrection. The apostles didn't recognize him in body form, but they recognized his personality and his voice. And what they're saying here is every single one of us have a very distinct personality known by the Father.
So I have a problem with that. So I have a huge problem with that, because in the church, they make it sound like Jesus came alive and was like cruising around, walking around, talking to all these people. And never once do they say, oh, he appeared in spirit form and people were able to see him in spirit. And it didn't even look like him, but they just knew it was him. I mean, I've done enough readings, mediumship readings, to know that if someone comes in and they want to hear from Aunt Matilda, and I say like, oh, okay, we've got someone here. It feels like a woman, Aunt Matilda. Yeah, okay. So don't say anything. So, I'll just tell them confirm, or just don't, tell me yes or no. I'll be like, and it seems like there's like this thing, her pearl necklace. It's like, yeah, I was going to say a round bead or, whatever, but it's like, if you want to see something or you want to hear from something, you're going to see it. So that's the only little issue I have with the fact that, because in the Bible, do they actually say like he came through in spirit and appeared to you, or do they say he came through and walked around?
Yeah, I think in the book of John, but John is pretty comprehensive.
Fingers through him.
He said they did not recognize him, but they knew who he was.
Okay.
Even when they were in the boat and Jesus was on the shore cooking fish, they didn't recognize him then either. But they only recognized him when they came into him, and was within his personality and his voice. His personality and voice didn't change. I don't have the Bible right over here in front of me to find the passage, but maybe I'll try to find that sometime tonight, and we'll
Okay.
talk about it again. So anyway, I can keep going, or you
Yeah,
guys,
go ahead.
if you what?
Yeah, go ahead and keep reading. I need to. There we go.
Okay, this is the that was the first chapter of page 5. This is
Actually, they have something to say. They have something to say. Okay,
go
so
ahead.
this is the guy. This is the guy that I said looked like you, like the father, whatever. And he's going like this
Uh-huh.
and putting it down. And interestingly enough, he's not taking his feet out of the water. His feet are just in the water. But what's interesting to me is that his feet are shooting out like a movie. It's like a movie, coming out of his foot, like as if it's a projector screen, and he's shooting it out. And then that movie is not the environment. That movie is Christ. It's like a beam of light coming down, and it's like his consciousness, the one that's up there that he keeps pulling down, is like thinking something, and then he's pulling it down, and it's going down there, and it's shooting down into like almost like a beam of light, and that beam of light seems like it's not like a person or a thing. It's like it's knowledge. It's knowledge, and it's sending it down, and it's whatever's thought up there. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people up there. So whatever's thought up there then manifests down here. Oh, I see what's happening here. The water is the underworld, and where like Adam and Eve fell into. It's outside the garden, and there's still a being that's here, like feeding thoughts and stuff down into there, almost trying to. And the reason why people are lifting up out of the water is because they're coming out of fear, and they're rising up out of the water, and they're going up into the real world. He says, because if you look at this, he took me all the way up past the clouds. I see earth. It says like Urantia, just because we're talking about Urantia. And then I see way over there, I see Pleiades, and Pleiades is this humongous earth. And I see earth as kind of like a mini me version of the Pleiades. And if they take me over there, I see you and I sitting up there in our houses, kind of how we are now, but we're in different houses. My wood floors are a little different. Your house is a little fancier. Your hair is shorter. My hair is shorter. We're different, but we're the same. And we're kind of in space suits. That's what I'm seeing. It's in like Star Trek outfits. Not Star Wars, but yeah, Star Trek outfits. So it's almost like these celestial, we're like these cosmic beings that live on another planet, and we're like over there playing a game. And that game is this, what I'm seeing over here, what we're kind of like trapped in down here. And I said, so when we're done channeling and doing all this stuff that we're doing, do we go back over there to where we are, back to that earth? And they said, yeah, you're already there. That's where you are. That's where you are. And I said, do I have to die to go there? And they said, no, that's you. That's the real you. This is not the real you. That's the real you. And I said, okay, well, then what's the whole point of us being down there here? And they said, to fish everybody out of the water. You're fishermen. You're here to save the souls. And they said, that's the divine counselor, and it's you. It looks like you. And it's pulling information and putting it down into the waters. And down in the water, I see, Earth. I see all the planets and the moon and the stars and everything. And I asked, is everybody down in the water fallen? And they said, everybody that's in the water is in fear. Everybody that's down there is in fear. And it can be fear about anything. But this isn't just like you're afraid of doing a speech, at work the next day. This is like the type of fear where you make life decisions based on it, so you're not on your path. So I said, well, if we're on our path, where do we exist? And they said, if you're on your path, you exist just above the water. You just hover right above the water, and you get to create your own experience and point your own foot in and make your own, reality. And you can also make a reality that spans out forward above the water as you walk on water without fear. And Jesus, can you help me out here? Sophia says, I will help. You called in the women. I said, actually, I didn't call in any guys. She goes, well, I came. Okay, hold on. She says, when you try to begin to understand the heavens and the earth, you must understand your multidimensionality. And we talk about this a lot. And yes, you get confused at times, but you truly, truly have to understand that you're not one person. You're several people. And just because you are Joe, it does not mean that you're not Joe somewhere else. And that Joe somewhere else doesn't necessarily know about this Joe. So you assume if something's in a higher dimension that it knows about all the lower dimensional selves, but that's not the case. They're all living their own individual separate realities. And the amazing thing about Earth and the way that this planet is evolving at this time is that your soul, which stands back there, they're showing like all your souls standing behind like Pleiades, Earth, the guy doing this, you know, like all our paths and everything. Your soul has the ability to embody the body that's under the water, the body that is above the water. The soul does not have the ability to embody that you over there, the creator you. It's a separate aspect of you, and it's a soulless aspect of you in a sense. So not to say that it's bad, it still has a spirit, it still has God in it. It just doesn't have a soul path. The soul path is given to those with amnesia, with those who want to come down and have a challenge. So Pleiades, non-duality. There's no good, bad, there's no fear, there's no it's a planet where you don't have to worry about being afraid. You just go and you live and you eat and you drink and you live in the flesh, and it's a nice reality to live in. Many would consider that heaven, but it's not heaven. It's just a very nice place to live, but you get bored. And honestly, you get bored and you say, I want to go down there, deal with some adversity, deal with almost feeling like I'm going to die every day, feel nervous, I want sweaty palms, I want to eat something and maybe I burnt the toast. Over there, they don't burn the toast. Over there, they don't mess up the food. They just think it, and it kind of appears, but they also get to create and do things with their hands too. The upper dimensional realms that are beyond that, they do not know of any of these selves either. So Earth is the most interesting experiment because you have the ability to embody your soul, because your soul knows every different dimension of self. So you technically have the ability to be God, in the sense that the soul is your God self, or the soul is the all-encompassing, all-remembering aspect of you that remembers every single lifetime it's projected itself into. So you can look at the soul as just being a person that takes a little piece of its mind, a little piece of its heart, and it goes, throws it down into a fetus, into a baby, and says, all right, go do the best you can. I'll be here waiting. And it'll take your knowledge, it'll take your wisdom, but then you can tinker with it by using the higher self, as you call it, the thought adjuster. The thought adjuster, it's placed in the pineal gland. The higher self can be programmed to not remember certain things, to not remember that, say, your mother in this lifetime that you're breastfeeding off of was your wife who murdered you for cheating on her in the last lifetime. You would come out of the womb and you go, ah, my murderer. Oh my gosh, I can't nurse off her. So there's these veils of forgetfulness. That's just the higher self's programming, and that's what the soul does. So Earth is so exciting, and people don't understand how spoiled you are, Peter. You don't understand how spoiled all of you are, that you get to enjoy water, you get to enjoy food, all of the senses, good, bad, everything in between. And you get to ascend into having the ability to create your own reality. And some of you ding dongs, that was Rosemary. Some of you ding dongs, and Peter says, I said ding dong first. She says, I said it first. Anyways, they're arguing. Anyways, you have the ability to create, and you're creating a complete hell for yourself. And that wasn't something that you planned. You didn't say, oh, I'm going to go down to Earth and create a hell for myself. But that's what you're doing. And that's why we are here to help fish you out of the soup, because you just don't get it. And once you do, and once it clicks and you realize, oh, I'm that back there, I'm that soul, and that soul has the ability to fully embody this body, because this body is set up with all the different moving parts, with all the different energy centers, everything. It's like a car. It's like a car. If you're going to have a Ferrari and a Lamborghini and a Volkswagen Bug, and it's like you're this soul that has the ability to drive let's just say the Lamborghini or the Bug. Let's say you have the ability to drive this fancy car and drive really fast, and and you've just got all the right moving parts in the mind for that. But you go down and you live in a Volkswagen, and then you're trying to ascend out of it, but you're just keep creating a reality where you just keep breaking down the Volkswagen. Then you have no money and you can't go get the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. You just have to know that you can be that sports car, and you can be in perfect shape. You don't have to be fat and out of shape. You don't need to eat unhealthy food. You don't need to sit and be lazy. You can work out. You can treat your body like a God machine, the way that God created it, because God, that's back behind the soul, created all of you in its own image, because it wanted to be able to embody a physical being and enjoy all the senses that the souls get to enjoy when they're in physicality. Because when they're not in physicality, they can't taste, they can't touch, they can't feel, they can't smell, they can't see, nothing. They just think. They think it happens, it's done. They think it happens, it's done. And for a soul, that's great and everything, but souls love the flesh. And that's why the angels fell. That's why many went, I'm going in. I want to feel, I want to taste, I want to touch. That's amazing. I want to go down there. And that's why people love Earth. But you need to begin to appreciate the fact that you're here on this planet, and you get to appreciate being a creator like those in the other dimensional realms. You get to access all the laws of the universe and all the creation principles and all the things at the 0 point and the void and all these things bring to the world, like all the rules of the matrix. You can access that. You can even access the creator's energy, and you can access the pure love that comes from God. You can access that in this body. You just must open yourself up to forgiveness and love through Christ, or through forgiveness. And most of you can't forgive yourselves for the smallest things. You still beat yourself up. If we say right now, think of the most embarrassing thing you've ever done, you go, you still get embarrassed. And it was like 5,000 years ago, some of you. Well, we're exaggerating, but some of you, it was when you were 10 years old and you still get embarrassed. Why? You have to forgive yourself and forgive whoever embarrassed you. My mouth stuck to itself. Okay. Now they say, go ahead and keep reading. Or ask questions. Did you disappear? Oh.
Folks, this is really the way we do it. We've got 18 books. Half of those are with Marisa and I. The other half are Marisa and her Bill Gladstone, her literary agent. And so we've got so much material that we can use, and we like to read various things from our books and the Arancha book and the Bible, etc., to stimulate the conversation, because something will be read that they up there, whoever it may be, may come into the picture and have some advice for you today, 21st century, Friday, February 16th. Is that right? February 16th? Yeah.
Are you able to hear what I did? You got knocked offline for a second.
I know you kept getting knocked off, and I didn't want to say anything. I don't know whether it's mine or whether it's yours.
Off the screen, but you're back. We're back now. We're good.
Okay, so I probably missed. Yeah, I should probably just let you finish it up today, because it's been.
Keep going. They were channeling about how amazing Earth was. They were channeling about how awesome Earth was, and how lucky we are, and how spoiled we are that we don't realize how lucky we are to live on Earth, because we can embody God and enjoy all the things that God created himself to be. And we're all like, oh man, life sucks. Oh man, I suck. So basically they're saying that we need to appreciate our lives completely.
Yeah, I think we do. You can tell that people appreciate their lives, because how come when you're driving down a 4-lane road with all you have is 2 little stripes between you and the other cars coming in the other direction, how come there isn't constant accidents? How come people aren't going, okay, I don't want to live anymore, and pull over into the other lane? People appreciate the fact that they're alive, and they'll do anything they can to extend their lives, except for the ones that end up going boom, which is silly. Just really,
well, those are real attachments. That's what they just said. They said those people have demonic attachments, entity attachments, and this guy says you would not believe the amount of family curses or land curses that people are affected by. For there's Native Americans or the indigenous people of many of the lands, when others came in and took over that land, they cursed the land and said, anybody who lives on this land that is not of our blood shall be cursed. So as the planet is ascending and shifting out of the dimensional realms that it's in right now, people are being affected by, oh, that's that collective thing I'm seeing. People are being affected by the collective, in that, like, they're getting affected by curses. And I said, well, what do you mean by a curse? And they said, well, a curse is a repetitive negative thought being repeated over and over. So imagine somebody walking around saying, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. After a while, I mean, you can't hear it, but they keep saying it. After a while, you're going to start to believe that you're stupid, and you're going to start acting stupid and doing stupid things. And that's what some lands that people are living on is, that I don't want to be alive. I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. So this oh, hey, it's Chief Joseph. We haven't seen him forever.
Well,
Chief Joseph
he came in.
Yeah, he's right here right now. He says he's standing right next to Jesus. They've got like their arms like kind of like around each other. And he says, ugh. He like made like an Indian noise. He says, I am Chief Joseph. He says, I am part of the collective. He says, I am your guide that establishes your connection to the collective. He says, and you must disconnect from the collective. Joe, you're doing a very good job at disconnecting from the collective by not speaking of the worldly things to others. When you speak of worldly things to others, it ties you into the collective, because then their opinions, even if they don't agree or do agree, you tie into this collective soup and you feed it energy. So the whole drama of the earth that's going on right now, it's a drama. It's just that, it's a drama. And as people pay attention to it, it feeds it energy. It gives it energy, and it makes it stronger and stronger and stronger. So what human beings must do at this time is to take their energy that they're focusing and focus it inward into their hearts, and allow their heart to decide where it would like to project its attention or its light. And you'll find that it is going to be a much more peaceful existence, because some people will just turn the TV off. They won't care what's going on outside their own home. They'll say, why am I complaining about this, or who might run the world, or who might do this, while my child is growing up and I'm missing milestones, or I'm missing this, or I'm missing that, or they're seeing a horrible side of me because I'm in a bad mood over someone I don't know. That person doesn't know me. That may happen. It may not happen. Who knows what's going to happen? All we know is right now is right now, but in 2 seconds, a bomb could go off and everybody could be dead. So this is what we are trying to say, is appreciating the moment, appreciating this life, and understanding and knowing that each day that goes by over the next 976 days, that's a lot of days, 976 days, these 976 days are going to bring forth the highest consciousness the planet has attained in a very, very long time. This is why with the artificial intelligence is coming in to try to combat what human beings are going to have the ability to have within them. Human beings will all have the ability to tune into that soul that we were speaking of, tune into the collective, which carries, if you know something, Joe, if you know 1, 2, and 3, and this channel knows 10, 11, and 12, if the two of you in a certain state of mind, in a receiving state of mind, tune into that collective, now you both know 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12, 13, and you know what each other know, because you're both tuned into this collective. Now, beliefs block that. So if you have a belief that 10, 11, and 12 don't exist, or they're evil, and you tune in, and the two of you are tuned into the collective, you'll have that in your field, but you'll discard it. And your belief will say, no, those don't exist. Those don't exist. And until that belief moves out of the way, and that's what guides do. Guides come in and they'll say, okay, let's teach him a lesson and teach him that 10, 11, and 12 do exist by doing this, this, and this. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, 10, 11, and 12. Oh my gosh, how did I never see that before? How did I never even think about that? So everything from the collective is smarter. Everything from the collective is bringing in information that everything that everybody has ever known is in there. That also means that there's false things in there. And that's why the spirit of truth that is you, that is that is me, that is everyone, is a huge sphere of light that sits. It's like the sea is right there, and then there's a huge spirit of truth. The spirit of truth sits there so that you can call it into you and you can ask it to make you feel truth. And that's what you must say each day. Lord, I turn my will over to you, and I ask that I be disconnected from the collective if it is not for my highest and best good. And I ask the spirit of truth to merge with my heart, my mind, and my soul, and allow me to perceive only truth today. And each day, ask that prayer. And if you ask that prayer each day to only perceive truth, you'll see that many things you just won't even want to watch. You won't want to watch movies maybe with violence, or you won't want to watch sarcastic, rude, pessimistic people, or maybe that's all you'll want to watch because that's truth coming through. But you won't want to waste your time with things that are meaningless. And the truth will bring you closer with your families. The truth will bring you closer with your spouses, your loved ones. It'll make coworkers less annoying. It'll make everybody less annoying, because when you are the spirit of truth, you are me and I am you. This is it's Chief Joseph, but he feels like he's a part of the Christ consciousness.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
then,
say he sounds like Jesus.
yeah, I was
Go
just gonna
ahead.
say yeah, it's Jesus, and then but Chief Joseph is standing with his feet in the water, so it's almost like he's like boots on the ground in the water. Jesus is like under the water with us, and then he shoots up out and like sends us up into the real world. He like dives down and he grabs all of his children and he saves them and brings them up. Chief Joseph kind of stands there in the water and like helps fish people out. He's not like down in there. It's like he says I am boots on the ground. I am foundation. I am someone that when you feel me, you know that it is the Christ energy coming through, going directly through into a world that is the Antichrist. Oh, the water is the Antichrist. That the water world under here that I'm seeing, and then Christ is up there in the clouds. That real world up there. So it's fear and then not fear. Rosemary says, Jesus wants to say something, because that was Emmanuel talking, like Christ Emmanuel. She says, Jesus wants to say something. He's trying to talk and you're not listening to him. I said, okay. He says, I'm a personality.
Take
He
it
says,
home.
he says, you speak of the personality. He says, I am the core personality of every single one of you on this planet. I am the core personality. So each of us have the exact same personality when we step into this world, when we were born into this world. But then we have DNA and we have family characteristics, and we have things that we're born into, a body with a make and a model, and a Chinese astrology sign and a Western astrology sign. You have all of these things that affect the way that our personality, my personality, your personality sees things. So if you can pray to live within your original personality, free from sin, meaning free from decisions made out of fear, free from sin, or free from the desire to do anything other than act out of pure love, then you'll begin to live a much better life. Many of you will heal instantly, just as you have done several times, Joe. You heal instantly when you step into me, your original personality. The original personality is beaten down when it's a child. It's told it's dumb. It's told it's an idiot. It's told it didn't make the team. It's told all these things. And this is what affects us in a way to where we get defensive and we get scared. But that original personality is sitting in there waiting for you to accept it and to allow it to guide you and lead you. And you can see this as a golden sphere of energy right here in your heart. And if you can bring your attention and awareness into it each day and just ask that golden ball of light guide and lead you, then the demons can't touch you. The fallen angels can't touch you. Earthbound spirits can't touch you. Nothing can touch you if you are in Christ. And I'm not saying in Jesus, saying in Christ. And that's a fully evolved emotional body that does not feel fear, that does not get defensive, that is compassionate, that is loving, that has strength, that has hope, has all the good stuff. And you cannot be touched by anything that is negative if you are in that and still in this body, in this world, in this earth. You can walk down through the strip here in Vegas and see all the people dealing with all of their addictions and all the things that are keeping them throwing their money into those machines, or buying women, or selling themselves, or doing all the things that people do. And you can just see the beauty in all of it. If you are in Christ, you won't get sucked into it. You'll say, wow, this is a really nice looking town. Look at the pretty lights. And you won't even feel sorry for the people. You'll just look with compassion that they're doing what they want to be doing, and then they'll find their way. The worst thing in life to feel is pity. And there's too many people that feel pity these days. And we need to ask that each of you, if you feel pity for somebody, just stop it. Stop it. If you feel pity for somebody, that means that you think you're better than them. It means that you're going, oh, you poor little Mexican person, or you poor little black person, or you poor little white person. Oh, I'm so much better than you, you poor thing, and patting them on the head. So erase pity from your library of emotions, and you'll begin to see that you'll be less defensive, because you won't be sticking up for the poor little guy that probably looks at you with pity. And you'll begin to see that life will be much richer and fuller and much more beautiful. And we must say, listen to music. Many people have stopped listening to music, and listen to the words that you are listening to each day. Joe, we know that you like music without words. This is great. People that listen to songs with words, listen to the words or read the words on your computer box. This is Jesus. On the computer box, read the words and read what you are singing back to the world, because you're a creator being. And if you're saying, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die, if you're saying these things, you're placing it into your field, and this is creating a frequency within you. So make sure to watch and listen to the words that you are singing each day when you listen to music on the radio. Be very selective about that. For the next 37 days, there's going to be a huge amount of angelic forces coming down to shift us into the white horse. And as the white horse comes in, frequencies and sounds affect us greatly, even the ones we can't even hear. So just be very, very careful with what you're listening to. If you need to switch to Christian music or something that's childlike music, or something that doesn't have things that disparage yourself or have beliefs that you just don't believe in, do that. Or just listen to orchestra music or symphonic music, because it's going to affect you greatly in the next month and some odd days, month and a week or so. I wonder why. Oh, they're shifting the white horse.
I hope the white horse is coming in to save the stupid world. Get rid of the red horse. But listen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think we hit an hour. So I think we need to wrap up. Yeah, check it.
Oh, we're at 59 minutes, so we better go.
Okay, bye everybody. Have yourself a great weekend. Hopefully you got something out of this session today. And we'll see you again on Monday. Marissa? Okay,
I'm
she's
going
saying bye.
and do readings if people want readings, but I'm showing you guys my dad there. You couldn't see him there. So there's TikTok, Papa. You can see. Okay. All righty. Okay. All right. I will see you on Monday, Papa. Love you. I'll talk to you before then. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Here we go.